Hello, it's time for another Gita video, and today we're doing the Bhagavad Gita Chapter 3, verse 30 to 33. Surrender all actions unto me by being conscious, aware of the self. Be without lusting for any result. Be without possessiveness, and free from reluctance. Fight. Those who follow my instructions regularly are human beings performing divine acts. With devotion and without desire, they all become free from the bondage of karma. However, those who out of jealous desire, do not follow my instructions regularly, they are foolish in every way. Know this well, they are all ruined without consciousness. Even an intelligent man, though he may try otherwise, is still controlled by the elements of the material world. All living beings are subject to this. So what good will self-restriction do? So I want to begin the comment with the last verse there. Even an intelligent man, though they may try otherwise, is still controlled by the elements. The elements of the material world are the gunas, which we talked about in the last video. Those different phases and forces that are part of our inner psyche, and that we move from, at times, manifesting one or another, that they each have their turn to rise and fall. And a lot of certain spiritual schools try to push the idea of, trying to cultivate, so the best of those is always at the forefront and the other ones are repressed. But this is actually, from Krishna's point of view and from mine as well, a fool's errand. It's a hopeless effort, because they're an intrinsic part of human beings. They're an intrinsic part of all reality. So there's no way to repress certain elements of reality and push others so that we only get the results that we think we want. And even if you could, it still wouldn't eliminate the fundamental issues of desire or suffering, because these exist even in the highest of the gunas, in the highest of the elements. So here again, Krishna is referring to Arjuna's desire to go and be an ascetic, to go live in the forest, to be a hermit, right? And so he says all living beings are subject to this. So what good would self-restriction do? So even if you go out into the forest, even if you strip away all your possessions and live naked in the woods, you're still going to have desires. You're still going to be trying to achieve things. You're still going to be wanting things. You're still going to be suffering from the lack of things. So you cannot reach truth by starting from falsehood. And so if the foundation of your spiritual discipline, because in the bigger picture, this isn't really about Arjuna, this is about spirituality in general. If the foundation of your spiritual discipline is a fantasy, the fantasy that you can become perfectly happy, that you can get rid of all your desires, that you can reach this wondrous state where you have nothing that is ever going to be a problem for you, then you've started from a point of falsehood. You're never going to get anywhere. Whatever effort you make is ultimately not going to lead to the result you imagine you want it to lead to. You're leading yourself to ruin. They are all ruined without consciousness, as Krishna says. So in the first few verses here of what we're quoting, I especially like that first verse. And when he says, surrender all actions unto me, he's saying it at a number of different levels. First, me as in he is Krishna and he is the guru of Arjuna, the spiritual teacher of Arjuna. And of course, also, Krishna is embodying divinity at that moment. He is Brahma. He's God. And so he's saying, surrender to your spiritual teacher, surrender also to God, right? To the divinity. But what does surrender mean? Does surrender mean praising and saying, oh, you're so wonderful, or stuff like that? No, because people do that all the time and then keep messing up and keep doing all kinds of things that have nothing to do with the spiritual process, right? So what he says here is something very important. He says, surrender all actions unto me by being conscious. So he doesn't say surrender by not eating meat. He doesn't say surrender by avoiding sex. He doesn't say surrender by doing a special dance 3 times a day. And he doesn't say surrender your actions, stop doing things. Stop doing things, give it up for the sake of God, right? Give it up for Lent or something like that. Give up eating fish. No, only eat fish is why you do that. But instead, he says, surrender your actions unto me by being conscious. So it means act in the world, be active in the world, but let go of that lusting of result. Let go of that possessiveness. Flee from your reluctance. Let go of your fear of action. Be true to your true will. And give those actions up to the divine. Trust in the nature of that inner spark within you, which is your true will, and in the divine path, which is not a plan exactly, but it's to say, this is the world. This is the world as it is really. I've already mentioned in a previous video, there's no big guy at the top that's organizing everything that's going to make sure your life is perfect. But what you're left with, what is possible in real spirituality, is to say, I have this will, this inherent truth about me that is within me. I will, through meditation, discover it. I will find this will, and then I will act on this will. And I will act on it not because I expect everything to turn out wonderfully, not because I'm demanding that things will be like this. I'm going to have a house and a wife, and I'm going to have this, or I'm going to be famous, or I'm going to be rich, and then I'm going to have all the sex I want, or anything like that. I'm going to do these things because it is my truth to do them. And so I'm surrendering the all lust of result to this divine inner spark. And then, free from reluctance, fight, because the world is a spiritual battleground. And if you do this, if you follow these instructions regularly, Krishna says, anyone who does this is a human being performing divine acts. That is to say, a human acting as a god would act. Because you are now free from bondage. You're a free person. The only thing that is really binding you is you. It's your fears, it's your desires, it's your attachment, it's your possessiveness. It's your ignorance in not understanding the difference between the senses and the sensed. By confusing your feelings for something that is an inherent part of you. For confusing your desires for something that's an inherent part of you. And for not knowing your true will. Those are the things that keep you from being liberated. And liberation doesn't mean that suddenly all of your life is wonderful and all of your problems are gone. But it means that you are living in truth. And that makes a complete difference to everything else that came before. Because what it does provide is this sense of freedom, this experience of being liberated from the blindness of your actions in the ordinary world. So now you're aware, and in that awareness, you're not expecting anything else but what is real. And in that realness, there is this experience of fulfillment. The one power that it grants you is the power that if you can die at any moment and feel satisfied with what you have done, if you are at that moment living with this full awareness. So that's everything for today. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and follow this playlist if you're interested, or check out the other playlists, especially the Yifa Society, where I teach my system for cultivation, for spiritual discipline. And to contact me if you're interested in that. And to share this video and any of my other videos anywhere and with anyone that you think could be interested. Thank you very much.